Off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, live on my Facebook channel, on my LinkedIn, but most importantly, the place that houses all of these shows about hope and happiness, which is my YouTube channel. So free subscribe. The link is in the bio so you can chat with my co-host today. Yes, it is Tuesday, and that means Coach Yarona Boster is my co-host here, helping me with things like love, loss, and living. And I'm so excited that you're here. I see the eyeballs rolling in again, which is always great because that means you will be participating with us on this show as long as there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words. I don't want to talk about or hear about or have anybody put what's going on in the reality show world, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I'm so delighted that we are on my 559th consecutive week. And this is show number 860. And thank you for your continued support. And please do stay tuned, because in the middle of the show, I'm going to be giving away Asian Oprah giveaway tickets to celebrate Chinese New Year that's coming up this weekend. So make sure you do not clean or cut your hair. Do it now, because then you will be cutting away your luck, cutting away your good fortune, and all kinds of other things that I'll share this week about Chinese New Year. And I'm giving away today 2 tickets to the Santa Anita Race Park. They're having a Lunar New Year fabulous celebration with all kinds of Chinese costumes, like 100 Chinese costumes, lion dance, kung fu. I get to say hello from stage, and it's going to be a great event. That's Sunday, so stay tuned for the middle. But we're going to start the way we normally do, and I just want to welcome my co-host, who has such a nice smile, Yarona Boster. She's a coach. She's a mom. She's very familiar with loss, and she's taken all of that loss and come up with beautiful ways in which we can embrace and live and love even with loss. So please welcome to my studio, back to my studio, my co-host for Tuesdays, Yarona Boster. Welcome back to the studio.
And thank you for having me. It's so lovely to be here always. Now I'm always wanting to do this, and I find myself doing that all the time.
Good. The more people flashing peace, the better.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So before we go into our topic, which those of you who saw the promo, you say selfish like it's a bad thing. We're going to talk about selfishness, self-care. But before we do that, I want you to have breakfast with me. So we're going to start with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, 8 specific things that you are grateful for. Start us off.
Okay, I was thinking about this as you were doing all the intro. I am grateful that you have the ability to take these breaths and then just go the whole thing out there, because it is amazing to listen to and watch every time. I'm like, whew, and she's like this, and she hit this, and she, where did she take the breath again? Because I need to remember how to do that. So I'm really grateful for that. Gives me an opportunity to relearn those.
That is so funny, because I was thinking about, actively instilling or instituting the 3 breath technology that I've come up with. So remind me later that we might do that as a part of the show, because it is a wonderful tool because I teach Tai Chi. That's why I have the longest breath, and then I have the gift of the gab, so that helps too. I'm grateful for being appreciated by my co-hosts. There's one.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I am grateful that I'm feeling well today because I did not feel well this weekend. So today is a good day. Yay.
Yay. I am grateful that I got to practice what I teach. Yesterday, I talked about just waking up, not hitting snooze, and going directly to whatever you need to do. And I did it this morning, went straight to the pool before I could think about my bathing suit said, go do laps. And my sweatpants said, you can stay in bed. But I listened to my bathing suit. So I'm grateful that I did. It was gorgeous this morning with the sunrise meeting me at the pool. And that was the promo this morning that I tagged you on.
Oh, I love that.
Go ahead.
I am grateful that I did the exact same thing, although differently. I took the time that I needed because I couldn't over the weekend since I was sick. I took the time I needed to get to cleaning the bathrooms because I had to do that. And I kept pushing it off. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to carve out my space and time for that. And I took it.
Beautiful. I call that listening to the gospel according to Nike. Just do it.
Do it.
Yeah, we've been listening to that gospel this morning. I am grateful for being fortunate and working very hard, or hardly working, to be able to live in this beautiful building that has a pool and a gym that I hit straight in the morning, so I don't have to get in my car to go somewhere.
Oh, that's beautiful.
One more.
Yeah, I am really grateful for the moments that allow me to make those moments count and reduce the noise around me to be in the moment with the people I love. Yeah.
Beautiful. My last gratitude is the sun that has come back out. Sun's always there, whether we see it or not. We've had a great season of rain, but I'm grateful. I'm solar powered to see the sun in the morning. All right. And that's the top of the bun. The bottom of the bun is appreciation. And in my book, gratitude is for things that are outside of ourselves. Appreciation is, what do I like about myself? This is part of the answer that we're going to cover today, how to be more self-caring, more selfish. And I think the foundation piece for me is, if I know what I like about myself, then I'm less likely to look for your approval, which is, you're human and that's not your job to approve of me. It's my job to approve of me. So I appreciate that I know how to approve of myself. Yeah. You?
I am definitely gaining a lot more appreciation for my ability to streamline my energy and my time with gratitude.
I appreciate that I was reminded that I am not in control. Mm-hmm. And it's my last chapter in 8 Ways to Happiness is called Out of Control into Happiness. And it is so true that one thing that will take me out of my happiness right away is wanting to control someone else's happiness. Thinking that we can help them be happy is a sure way to bring myself to instant unhappiness. So I appreciate that. I know I've been saying NMB, NYB, not my business, not my job. So I appreciate that. I know how to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. I really appreciate the fact that I'm getting better at making my needs known and my boundaries met. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of what we're going to talk about today too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I love being a fashionista. I love dressing up.
I still appreciate my sweatpants. And I will never stop appreciating my sweatpants and my desire to be in them at all times.
Touche. I appreciate that it's very easy for me to laugh. And I appreciate that about myself because laughter is my favorite sound in the world.
Well,
Last one for you.
I appreciate, well, honestly, I appreciate the day today. My day, the decision I made to make my day specifically purposeful today.
Yay. And that is breakfast with Coach Yarona Boster and Dr. Marissa on our special Tuesday series, Love, Loss, and Living. And the best thing about the gratitude sandwich is no calories. So I can, I appreciate that I've lost 33 pounds now since Valentine's last year. So I didn't put a specific number out, but this is a good number. So I'm happy with that. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Yarona,
Yes.
what are we talking about today?
Self-care and self-compassion are not selfish. And we get that wrong every single day. And especially from the people who are in tune to becoming more empathetic with others, we often find ourselves taking this step back from our desire to care for ourselves in lieu of the desire to care for somebody else. When we go through hardships and difficulties, it tends to breed more empathy in ourselves with this desire to give of ourselves to others. Unfortunately, there is this tremendous guilt that comes associated with this inability to say no because we want to be of help to others. And unfortunately, that is also not the best way to care for ourselves, not always. So a lot of that has to do with boundaries, and I want to explain how that relates to boundary setting.
Beautiful. So if you're listening and you're wondering what's going on today with Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, it is our Tuesday special series. We are talking about something so fundamental that I'm hoping that the eyeballs that I see are in the studio will participate with us. Questions, comments, but this is really where your life rubber meets your journey home.
Yeah, I love it.
I got to remember that. I got to remember that. Because you can spend the rest of your life blaming other people for your unhappiness, or you can choose today, which is the 17th, 7 and 1 equal 8, lucky number, homophone for good fortune, January 1st month, almost Chinese New Year. You're the wabbit coming up. You can choose to stop blaming other people and listen and follow some of the advice that we're both going to be dishing out today. So when you say selfish, and I think it absolutely deserves a little bit of historical perspective, or what I call the 88,000 look. We traditionally, I think even cultures, your culture, Jewish culture, Chinese culture, a lot of Asian cultures are told, Latino culture, are told that your job is to take care of other people. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I don't care if you like it or not, but that's your job. Now, you may not be told that specifically or consciously or directly, but it is an absolute rule that you don't think of yourself first. You always make sure everybody else's needs are met before you do yourself. I had to chop all the vegetables for my mom to entertain every weekend, and then wasn't allowed to eat anything until everybody else finished. So I grew up with a huge resentment and an allergy to cooking.
I didn't know you could come up with an allergy to cooking, but I like that one.
Yeah, definitely. So, did you hear that?
Yeah. So definitely, I think that I saw that a lot, and I know that my eldest sister would say this, where she was kind of parentified. That's what we talk about it now these days. Oftentimes the eldest child is put into that position, but it was a constant reminder of like, take care of others, take care of others. And in the Jewish world, it's all about the community. It's all about giving back. There's chesed, there's charity, there's even a tzedakah, which is the monetary aspect of charity. There's constant give, which is beautiful. But when your well is dry and you're still trying to give to others, it is not okay. And one of the things I've noticed in the last number of years is that we talk a lot about, meditation practices and yoga and exercise and take care of yourself, take care of yourself. We talk about mindfulness techniques, and these are beautiful methodologies to self-care. But the first piece of that is the time it takes to do those things. And one of the ways we set that time is by setting boundaries. When so few of us can set boundaries in order to create and establish the time we need to self-care, and we feel the constant need to apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to take care of that. Oh, I really would want to, but I can't. Or we go and we do something, and it breeds in us a resentment because we really don't have the time to dedicate to that. Sometimes it's in work, that we talk about the work-life balance. And when the reality is we're ever connected in this world these days, we have no established boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we set boundaries respectfully so that we can take and make room for self-care?
Mm-hmm. And or when you're doing what you've set a boundary to do, you're not even there. So you're thinking about all the other things that you're missing or the guilt and all of that. Now, I'm going to cut some people some slack because this is a common coping strategy for those of us who've had a childhood trauma, is that we have learned that to be loved means to serve. To be loved means to always say yes instead of setting the boundary to say no. So it's way easier said than done to move from always saying yes to actually saying no. So I want to just give everyone the space, and maybe this is a time for the breath, to understand that it is a balance, as Yarona so aptly pointed out early. It's not about never helping other people. It's not about never serving people. It's a good thing. But the balance is always saying yes, always feeling like you have to, otherwise you're a bad kid. You have to, otherwise you're a bad person. You have to, otherwise you're a bad daughter, son, friend, parent. That's where we fall off the deep end. So that's what we're doing today. How do we find that middle ground where we're not, F you, it's all about me? And I also want to remember, I want to point out is, I'm ageless, but I remember hearing probably, with Virginia Slims, that we've come a long way. And during that time, there were movies and articles written about women who said, I have to find myself. So they abandon the entire family and the kids, and it's my time. Or midlife crisis with the Corvettes and the guys. That's going way over to the other extreme. We're not talking about, completely ending any collaborative or service attitude.
So important, because boundaries are not walls, they're safety nets. Boundaries are the safety nets of your life that allow for you to live in the most valuable way that you can. I want to be of value. I want to contribute to the world before I leave this plane of existence.
Mhm.
And if I'm going to be able to do that, I need to create my safety nets so that I can ensure my time is utilized in its most valuable way. I want to still spend time with my family. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to do all of these things. But, again, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. And in this day and age where everything seems possible, we start reaching for the everything, but as a result, we tend to dilute our effectiveness. Even if
Yeah.
you are most valued by just the people who are most important to you in your world, that's okay. That's important. And being valuable isn't about saying, my time is money, or saying that I'm not going to give you something without you giving me something in return. It means recognizing where you can do the most good and streamlining it for that effective result.
Now I'm going to, it's going to sound like a disagreement. And we're allowed to do that. But
Absolutely.
when you said it's not about, what did you just say about time? Because I came up with something and it was
I
a
totally
perfect
forgot just
segue.
I was totally mad about that.
No. I just wanted to. So you said it's not about taking all the time for yourself and not serving others. Okay, so this is, though, I think one of those clarifications that I needed for myself. I'm a stickler for time, and those people who are close to me know that. And I was starting to feel guilty about it, because if I make plans with you and you cancel them at the last minute and it's not the first time, then I say, the most valuable resource for me is time. It is not money, because money, if you lose it, you can make it back. But time, if I lose that time that I could have been serving someone, getting money energy for it, or doing something, I would have planned for someone else to join, all of those things that I can't, there's no do-over. Time is has a shelf life. So time and money are not the same. For me, time is the most valuable thing. And so when I lovingly say that I can't make plans with you because time for you is a little different than me, and I love you, I just can't do stuff with you right now.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So
You're
that's
setting a boundary.
an example of the boundary setting. And you have to be okay if they're pissed off. That's that I think
That's one of the hardest
people,
things.
for people who've had childhood trauma, to have someone mad at you is like death. And I have to deal with that every day because I hate conflict. It's funny because I do that for a living. I help resolve conflict as an organizational psychologist. I get paid for it. I love doing it. But when it comes to my personal life, if there's conflict, I'm out of there. And I have to work on that. I have to know that there's time and a place for carefrontation. My friend, Reverend Arlene, said that. So go ahead.
And that one of the reasons that is probably a piece of you is because when we feel most helpless to help ourselves, we turn in and help others. So when you are helping those corporations, you're helping them because this is an area that you are finding most hardest to help yourself in. It often resonates that way. When we have a struggle and we're like, I can't do anything about this for myself, we turn around and do that. It's often why we give advice to our friends and our loved ones that we're not taking for ourselves.
Because ergo, the title of my show. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the thing is about that, and I love this. This is a really prime example that I use a lot. When I was in my previous work, I would say to my staff, here's the deal. I work these hours and I work these days. Your work is in these hours, these times. The services we would provide to our families were oftentimes, out of the realm. It was whenever the family and the children were available. So it could be evenings, it could be weekends, but that was not my working hours. So I would say to my staff, here's the deal. I respect and acknowledge your time. You respect and acknowledge my time. If I send you an email in the middle of the day and you are in the middle of a session, you're in the middle of work, you're doing something, not only do I not expect you to answer, I don't want you to. You answer when it works for you. I will answer when it works for me. If Saturday and Sunday are sacred to you, please don't answer me. It will breed resentment. If I send you a message, and if you send me a message on Saturday, I have no problem with that. I am not going to respond. I will respond when I come back to my working hours. And so I allowed for my staff the opportunity I didn't just set boundaries for myself and told them what I needed. I also acknowledged the fact that they needed to set those boundaries for themselves. And I would respect and honor those. And when we establish those, it's really important on both sides that then we don't just walk through them at every turn, especially to ourselves. If you set a boundary and then you constantly walk through it to the other side, the other person you're walking through to the other side to stops respecting the boundaries you just set up.
Great point. Great point. Self-care begins with keeping promises to yourself.
Beautiful.
How many times have I said, I am going to exercise, I'm going to walk, I'm going to go get a Chinese reflexology, I'm going to take some time to this, and then someone says, can you do me a favor? And because I don't want to disappoint them, I say yes, and then I've broken the promise to myself. And if you keep breaking promises to yourself, that is your doing. Nobody did that to you. They did not make you say yes. They did not make you break that promise. You broke that promise for yourself. And again, I cut everybody some slack who had this habit as a coping mechanism to stay alive when you're a kid, but you're not a kid. Yeah. And that person cannot beat you, hurt you physically, mentally, emotionally like you were as a child. So let's not carry that coping strategy into your present and future. Please, please, please learn how to keep promises to yourself.
Yes.
That is my final word in the middle of the show.
Yeah. And I have to say, because you said that, I really have to say that this is something that is so frustrating. When I say to somebody, I'm sending you a link to something, watch it when you can. Or, I send a voicemail to somebody and I say, listen when you can. And then they cut off what they're doing and they make time for it when they truly don't have time for it. And then they get angry at me when I said to them, please allow for the time for this. I did not ask you to do that for me. I asked for you to make time for this when that's space. It was your own doing that cut through your boundaries in that. It is not therefore my responsibility to take care of your boundaries.
Absolutely.
It's your responsibility to do so.
Absolutely. 100,000%. You're preaching to my choir. And that is a challenge for both of us and for all of you as we take a quick break here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa and co-host
Yarona Boster
on our special series, Love, Loss, and Living. We'll be right back with more reasons to take care of ourselves. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Sam?
Where is that?
I I don't know. Here we go. Want delicious Vietnamese Asian fusion cuisine that is so good for your health you won't believe your taste buds? Olac is a 100% plant-based vegan restaurant founded by Mai on living foods and a love for animals that won't make you sacrifice taste for health. 2 locations to delight you, downtown LA and Fountain Valley. So go to www.olac.com, AULAC, to book your reservation today. Saving the planet has never tasted so good. And I am doing a little commercial now for the Santa Anita race track, as well as the Diamond 100 Racing Club. And they are holding a wonderful Lunar New Year event. It's our celebration. I know you thought I was Swedish, but I am actually Chinese, and I love celebrating Chinese New Year, getting in touch with my roots. It's a $30,000 wealth tree that you get to select a Hong Wow, which is a red packet from, to see if you actually win it. And then it's so amazing. In the park area, you will start at 10:30 seeing amazing ethnic Chinese original. I'll be wearing my own Chinese chi pao that I had made for me when I was on tour in China. There's going to be a stage with kung fu demonstrations, a lion dance. We've got all kinds of amazing, wonderful celebration things for you. This is on Sunday, and I have finagled 3 pairs of tickets that allow you to park for free, admission to the park. And if you are going to the website, you can also get the VIP package, which also gives you $30, I believe, in credit at the park, where they're going to be all kinds of Asian food, yummies, trucks, and that is I'm a foodie on steroids when it comes to Asian food. My dad used to call me a banana. I'm yellow on the outside, white on the inside, but the very center are my yellow seeds, which is my appetite. So the first person to go to drmarissa.life and put in Chinese New Year in the subject line, if you're on your phone, just scroll to the bottom, will win that pair of tickets. I'll be giving another pair on Thursday and another pair on Friday. So please do go to drmarissa.life for the Asian Oprah giveaway today. All right. And Yarona, your turn.
Yeah. Wait, what did you want me to talk about? About what we're talking about today? Well, first off, I want those tickets, but unfortunately, I can't get out to your
Actually, can you hear me, Yarona?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I want you to talk about your coaching practice. I didn't warn you before.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so if you go to footprintscoaching.org, that is my website. I am a primarily parent coach, but I also deal with loss and trauma and infertility. So those are my areas of expertise. I'm also going to be launching a book, which should be coming out in the fall, and it is called Unspoken Signals, and it's all about developing our authentic parenting skills to help foster empathetic children. So my hope is that I'll have more of that to share with you guys soon. I'm also going to be doing a podcast coming up soon. And again, it's all about parenting, and it's really geared towards the life process of being a parent, because once you become a parent, you never stop being a parent, even when they're grown. So my co-host on that will be a life coach who is an empty nester. And I am a parent of a 5-year-old. So we're coming at it from those 2 different unique perspectives.
beautiful. So go to Footprints, right? Footprintscoaching.org, and you can see it at the bottom of her lower third. We'll be right back with more of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It on self-care.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and Central. Dr. Marissa, which is my YouTube channel. Free subscribe. You'll get an alert every 8 a.m. morning on this show about hope and happiness with lots of beautiful co-hosts. Tomorrow, if you've been watching Bernie Madoff on Netflix, I am replaying, spotlighting an interview that I did with someone who lost $10 million to Bernie Madoff, and very successful dieting coach to Oprah, my honorable moniker. Janine Roth is her name, and I'm going to be replaying her interview tomorrow. Thursday is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works, and we get real fun and talk about chemistry and romance, and I flirt with him, even though he's a little too old for me, but I'm bummed. And then Friday, my newest co-host, you will love her. We're going to be talking about her 20 years as a model. She was a Playboy model at Hugh Hefner. Yes, she's on Bobby Brown's first music video. You can get that on YouTube. She's also the daughter of Otis Williams, the founder of the Temptations. So our special series is called Tempting Conversations this Friday. So keep it here. And you can also, if you free subscribe on my YouTube channel, get my red carpet playlist, interviews with the Temptations backstage, as well as Jimmy Fallon and Halle Berry, John Travolta, and more. So please do free subscribe there and enjoy. And now we're back with this special series every Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. I see the eyeballs. Feel free to chat in the comments. We will put you on screen and answer any questions or comment on your comments. And today we are talking about self-care and how it is selfish, yes, but not a bad thing. So, Yarona, what were you mulling over during the break? And we'll go right back in. This is the solution half on the show. On the first half of the show, we talk about the reality of the opportunity. And now we focus on solution.
Okay. So one of the hardest things people find to creating those boundaries that allow for them to make space for self-care is the age of connection. We have a difficult time turning our devices off. We have a difficult time not responding to messages. We have a hard time.
No idea what you're talking about.
But the truth is, this is an analogy I love to use. So imagine, if you would, somebody walked up to your front door and they rang your bell and you were like in the middle of about to do some dishes. Oh, the doorbell's ringing. Run, open the door. Oh, it's my neighbor. Oh, she was just wondering if I could, move my car because it's a little too close to her. Okay, no problem. I'll take a moment to do that. Okay, done that. Walk back in, close the door, go head off to what I'm about to do. Doorbell rings again. And it's somebody trying to sell me something. And then done with that, doorbell rings again. And before you know it, imagine a metaphorical line of people lined up outside of your door, continuously ringing that bell. The problem is, in the age of connectivity, we have this automatic need, and it may very well come from that whole say yes to everything, say yes, that was established possibly in our childhood, but follows through to this, oh, a message came through, I need to respond. And on the other side of that fence is if you were responding and suddenly you stop responding, people make grand assumptions about what you are and aren't doing with your time when you are in an asynchronous responsive relationship. Asynchronous meaning that somebody messages you. They don't know what you're actually doing in real time. You message them back, and then they message you again, and you message them back. And then suddenly you stop messaging them, and they're like, oh, I know they were available. They've been messaging me this entire time. Well, maybe their son just came home from school. Maybe their mother just called and they needed to go and rush over to take care of something else. Maybe. You have no idea what is on the other side of that messaging system. And therefore, we make these assumptions and we do both ourselves and the other people a disservice when we take the time out of our day to do that. I found myself in a loop where I was late to doctor's appointments because, oh, I'll just respond to this one message. And before I knew it, 20 minutes gone by and I am late for my doctor's appointment. And now they are making me wait in the waiting room because they didn't want me to be late, right? So when we do that, when we cut our time because we feel the need to constantly think we're respecting other people's time by responding. Oh, somebody messaged me. I need to respond. This came through. I need to respond. Respond. This happens in work. This happens in life all the time.
Absolutely. I tell people that if you really need me and it's something urgent, to call, and if I can answer it, I will. But then I know that they are, need something right away. And when they do that, I'm on Instagram, so I want to take it off of my earbuds so that people can hear. Wow, we've got a lot of great people. Lizzie, Crystal, Tony, sweet, OMG, my old boss. So we're talking about self-care. And this is my co-host, Yarona Boster. And this is a great self-care tip because we can control how available we are. How's that? So
Yes.
I will say, just know, don't take it personally. If I don't respond right away, that means I'm in the middle of something. If you call, I know it's an emergency. If you text, I'm going to look at it later. And if it's really not an emergency, email and I'll look at it that night. So when I do that, I'm being clear that it's not personal, right?
Yes. Make clear our planning on that. So I often call it, I'll back up. There's two things. One, my sister and I have an established plan. And the reason for this established plan is because we've both been through years of traumatic stress with constant emergencies happening with our dying parents, with our dying niece and nephew, with all the people in our lives, with that constant traumatic stress. Oftentimes you feel this need to respond because what if it's an emergency? And unfortunately, as a result, you build up this mantra of automatic response mechanism that just kind of comes in and builds. So my sister and I have this established plan where it is that she might message me. If she messages me, I know it's not important. If she calls me once and doesn't leave a voice message, I know it's not vital, but she definitely wants to talk to me. We have kind of like a methodology for like, and if she calls me and then she calls me again, I know it's something emergent. So we have that. And you can plan that in so many aspects of your life, both your personal life, your business life, and so on. I used to call this with my staff in our establishment of the rules and guidelines that I wanted my staff to set up with our families right away were allowances to develop these guidelines that they could adhere to in what I called the neutral zone. When you first meet somebody, you have neutral zone. You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. You haven't established the rules of your relationship yet. Make those rules known. Give yourself the opportunity to say to them, this is how my life works, okay? Like you just said, if you email me, great. Then I know it's not an emergency. If you message me, I'll probably try to look at it within 24 hours. If you call me, I know it's something urgent. And if you call me twice, I know it's an emergency. So establishing those things in every aspect of our lives gives us ownership over our own boundaries. Not building walls between ourselves and our loved ones and those that we develop a professional relationship with, but building safety nets so we can all stay within those limits.
Great. I piggyback on organizational systems. As an organizational psychologist, I have my human resources clients set days where they respond and do question and answers and frequently ask questions about general things. That way, people aren't calling all the time about similar stuff or that interrupting. Balancing that out, interruptions are part of your job. So when you're interrupted, don't get mad, because that's part of your job, is to answer questions. And you're going to have to approve of yourself, because usually when it's customer service or HR, when the phone rings, it's not good news. So just preparing yourself for, how can you, it's an opportunity to help someone solve a problem. Now, as far as you were talking about taking things personally when people don't text back or when people don't call back or any of that. So one of the tendencies that human beings have is to go to MSU University. MSU University is making shiitake up. So if someone doesn't return something, you're like, oh, they're mad at me, or oh, they're cheating on me. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the things that go through our head. On the other hand, I know that I have to also be okay with people's discomfort with whatever it is. I cannot please everybody all the time. I can't even please some people any of the time. There are people who I will never be able to please. I call them tractors that do not give milk. So in your ability to self-care, please identify those people that, and again, the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma will tend to attract people who are difficult to please, because we're playing out the same bullshit talkie that we grew up with. But honey, you are not that child anymore. You can attract people who actually give milk by stop focusing on people who are not cows, that are tractors.
Right. And we also attract the time suckers, the time vampires, who love to suck our time, who love to take up our space. And unfortunately, we have to establish severe boundaries with those people at times. And sometimes we have to recognize when, and I love what you said about the tractor and the milk, because I use one that's very similar to that. It's, we keep walking into the hardware store expecting to be able to buy a carton of milk. We have to start to recognize that it's possible this hardware store will never hold milk for us. And we may just have to, one, accept that we can't go to this hardware store for milk and go to the grocery store, but keep this hardware store on our rotation list for when we need something that a hardware store can give us, or walk away from the hardware store and realize that if it's never going to be able to give you milk, and if you've asked for that and still are being put into a place where that's not right of you to ask me that, because that happened to me very recently. I was told basically that I was asking for more than that person could give, and that how dare I ask for that? It came to the realization, if I can't ask for what I need, or that person is unwilling to do that much for me, which I didn't see it as being that much when I was setting my boundaries, it's not worth the relationship with that hardware store anymore.
Yeah. And that goes back to, I have this order. It's God, higher power, whatever you want to call it. I call him my UPS man, universal power source. He delivers when I pray and meditate, but that energy or whatever outside of yourself, that is the one that makes sure the planets don't crash into each other in the middle of the night. So that's my highest priority. And I connect with that, and, because it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel a part of something way bigger than me. Second, and this was the hardest thing, is to take others from that second priority and move it to third, and move myself from the third priority to the second priority. So if you do that, then it follows, and I asked this when I interviewed Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith recently for the 5th time, is it possible to love people and not like them? And I think that is really part of this discussion is, like you said, maybe not forever. I don't think cutting people out of your lives forever is necessarily the answer. If I had cut my mom out, who was the one who, she did the best that she could, but I got hurt a lot as a child. Everybody told me, oh, you can just like cut her out of your life and you shouldn't have her around your kids, blah, 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 blah. If I had done that, I wouldn't have heard her actually apologize for what she had done. And that was a gift that I wasn't expecting. I didn't ask for it. She took it back, but anyways,
oh no,
there. And I think that there's a time and a place for, you love someone. I don't really like you right now. You may not like me right now. So, let's just take a little break from the interaction. Let's take a little break from having to do things together. Love you from afar. Yes. So I think that's self-care. I think that's a huge self-care.
Yes.
Huge self-care.
So
it's
important.
The biggest one for me that made such a difference. And it goes on the heels of law of attraction. What you focus on grows bigger. If you're focused on fixing a relationship that is broken and you keep trying to fix it and it's not fixable at that moment, the best thing to do is take your eyes off of it and focus on something that isn't broken. Go where the love is. That's another way that I say it. Final word, Yarona. That was my final word. We are, again, this goes super fast. Thank you.
Yeah,
more people go for the big was on here. All these people that are on my Instagram, go to YouTube next time so you can chat there.
Yeah. I'd like to say this one last thing about boundaries.
Yes.
We forget oftentimes one of the biggest boundaries of all, and I wouldn't be anything if I didn't talk a little bit about the loss of boundaries and the loss that boundaries can actually help with. When we create boundaries in our lives, we also start to recognize that life is its own boundary. We won't be here forever. We are finite creatures. And when we can accept that boundaries are inevitable as a part of the life we live, the finite time we have, we can both respect ourselves and the people that are around us and the people who love us for creating those boundaries for themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. 1000%. I hope you have enjoyed this very quickly moving, as it always is, special series. And it is called Love, Loss, and Living. We are here every Tuesday morning to talk about the real things that keep us from being happy, keep us from loving, keep us from living. And we hope that you continue to join us on Tuesday mornings with Coach Yarona Boster and Dr. Marissa. Again, you can find her if you would like some private coaching. You can go to Footprints. Let's see, where did we go? Coaching.org. The little logo there is covering on this end. And please go. And if you are just tuning in and you want to hear the rest of the show, go to my YouTube for that link, live every morning at 8 weekday mornings. And you know the drill. It is all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever.